everybody, how are you doing? Hope you're really well. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that has been coming up quite a lot recently over the last year or so for me, and that is about my changing appearance. In the comments of these videos and on emails, Instagram, there's been quite a lot of questions about my weight loss, things that I've done to improve myself, and how I've changed my mindset to live a consistently healthy lifestyle. So I just thought that because these questions come up again and again and again, it would be nice for me to tell you the story of my transformation. And it has been a transformation. I think when I come here every week, you don't really notice how much of a transformation there has been. But if you look back to photos, even just 2 years ago, the difference between then and now is quite significant. And that has been a very conscious thing that I wanted to achieve. I have to come on video every week. There's photos of me all over the internet. This is my job. And when you look at yourself that often and see yourself on all these different medias, platforms, and even when you go to events and people take pictures of you and you look back at them and you perhaps not totally satisfied with what you see, you want to change it. We are human beings. We all want to be the best version of ourselves. And that was something that I really wanted to work on. It's taken me about 2 years to really work very hard and get to a point where I feel really proud and happy with the changes that I've made. And it's not just about looking good and feeling my best. It's about living a healthier lifestyle, a happier lifestyle, and feeling a feeling of genuine contentment. And I have to tell you, that is something that I haven't had for a very long time. And I don't know whether it's because I'm now 36 and maturing, but I feel happy, content, and at peace. And I know that life is constantly up and down, and there will be times when I'm not so happy. Even just a few months ago, I was going through some stuff, but I know now that that is life. So in this video, I'm going to go through 3 different sections of my personal transformation. In the first section, we're going to get to the juicy part, which is weight loss and diet. In the second part, we're going to talk about the physical transformation and things that I have done to myself to improve myself, I hope. And in the third part, we're going to talk about mental health, and not only mental health, but mindset, so that I can explain to you how I live every day in a very simple way that has helped me to keep this lifestyle going for the long term. So I think this might be interesting for you. There have been a lot of comments about my appearance and transformation and people wanting to know what diet I have and what I've been doing. So I just thought I'll put it out into the ether, and then this is here forever for everybody to reference, and hopefully it will be useful. And what I will say before we begin is that I am not an expert. I just decided to do certain things. Some things didn't work. I switched them up. So don't take my advice on this. Don't take it as gospel, because it's not. I'm not an expert. I found a lifestyle that works for me. It might not work for you, but maybe there are some things in this video that would be useful. So shall we get started? Let's do it. Okay, so first we're going to talk about weight loss and diet. And this is, I think, the thing that has made the biggest difference in my transformation. I've lost about 25 pounds in weight, and I've completely overhauled my lifestyle in terms of food and eating. Now, I've always been quite a slim person. I never really struggled with my weight. But when it got to the lockdown, lifestyle for me changed big time. We were all stuck at home. There was not really much to do. Everybody was making banana bread on Instagram. And I got to a point where I kind of struggled with knowing how to live my life every day without having anything to do. And a big part of my life was enjoying food and drinks, and that is absolutely fine. It was a very weird time for everybody in the world, so to have that little period of eating and drinking was something that just naturally happened and something that I did. And I gained about 25 pounds over the period of COVID, 2 years. And as I started to see myself on screen, I did start to notice, ooh, I'm not really liking the way that I look on this video. And then I'll be completely honest, there are online forums that exist and perhaps not very nice comments about people who put themselves out online, and people were commenting on the way that I looked, that I'd gained weight. And it was an observation, a fair observation, it was the truth. But even when you have to read those things, it's not the nicest thing. So I would say for about 2 years, I gained weight. I noticed I'd gained weight. I wasn't happy with the way that I looked. And I knew that I had to do something about it. The thing is about weight loss, we all know how to lose weight. It is absolutely simple. You exercise more and you eat less and you will 100% lose weight. But the most difficult thing is the mindset. Unless you have a really strong mindset and you've decided, okay, enough is enough, I really don't want to live like this anymore, you can't get into that groove of losing weight. And that is what happened to me. I just knew that I wasn't very happy. My clothes were really tight. Every time I bought new clothes in the changing rooms, I just wasn't very happy with what I was looking at in the mirror. But I wasn't ready to start my weight loss journey. There does come a point, I think, when enough is enough. For me, that was September 2024. I went on a trip with Nathan to the Scottish Highlands and we had a really beautiful time. I vlogged that trip, and on the way home there was this gorgeous mountain, and I said to Nathan, let's stop the car and we'll take some pictures. These will be great for Instagram. So we did, and I got dressed that morning, and when I looked in the mirror I felt really great. I was wearing a beautiful green corduroy suit with a cream roll neck cashmere jumper, and I thought, oh, I look really elegant. And then Nathan took the photos of me. We got home, he sent them to me, and I was completely shocked. I'm going to put them onto the screen now. And this was the point where I thought, oh my God, I just do not like what I'm seeing. And I'm not telling you this because I'm somebody who is very insecure and somebody who can't deal with not looking my best all the time. I'm quite a secure person. I'm happy. I don't put all of my value and emphasis on the way that I look. But I do know that if I look at a photo of myself and I don't really like what I see because it's not a good lifestyle, I'm not healthy, I'm not exercising, then I'm not going to be very happy about that. I'm going to want to do something about it. So those photos made me think, wow, I really should start doing something about it. So that is what I decided to do. So I'm going to tell you now how I lost 25 pounds. And the thing is about me is that I seem to have inherited from my parents quite a strong willpower. My dad smoked for about 25 years, and I remember one Sunday he just woke up and he said, today I'm going to have my last ever cigarette and that will be it. And at about 6 o'clock in the evening he had a cigarette and he never had one ever again. And that was when I was about 5 years old, and now I'm 36, and he never smoked again. Similarly, my mum, she has been very conscious of weight and the way that she looks, and she can say to herself, okay, I'm going to exercise for a few weeks, maybe restrict my calories a little bit, go on a diet. She's got something coming up that she wants to look her best for, and she will stick with that for a few months and she will achieve her goals. That is something that I'm pretty good at doing as well, once I'm in the right mindset. So I decided that I was going to lose 25 pounds. That was my goal. At the time I was hovering around 11.5 stone. I will put that on screen in kilos. If you're American, you're probably not going to know what that is. And I knew that I wanted to be 9 stone. 9 stone is the weight that I was at the beginning of the lockdown. It's the weight that I was most of my life, my adult life, and it's the weight that looks good for me. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but I know that 9 stone is the very ideal weight. I'm only small, I'm petite, and that is the ideal weight for me. So that is what I wanted to get to. And I knew how to do it because I've lost weight before and I know how to lose weight. Now, what people told me, I had a PT before, and they told me you need to do some cardio, but mostly focus on weights. And I did that before, and it didn't really work, because what I like to do, what really motivates me, is weighing myself once a week on the same day at the same time and seeing progress. what I was finding when I was lifting weights while trying to lose weight is that because maybe you're gaining a bit of muscle or whatever, the scale isn't really reading how much weight you're losing, and it becomes confusing, and then you lose the willpower. So I made the decision at the very beginning of my weight loss journey that I wasn't going to touch any weights until I'd reached my goal of getting to 9 stone. So I just focused on cardio. I started cardio at about the beginning of October, and what I did, I went to the gym 4-5 times a week. I got on the treadmill, I set the incline at 16.5, I put the speed at 4, I think it's 4 kilometers, and I did that incline walk for 60 minutes. And if you put those settings on the treadmill, in 60 minutes you will guaranteed to burn 600 calories. It's a fact, because I've been doing it for 2 years. So if you're burning 600 calories 4 and 5 times a week, you're going to lose weight. It's burning thousands of calories a week, and if you burn thousands of calories a week, you will 100% lose weight, as long as you are also following a healthy diet. So I knew in my head that if I did this, I was definitely going to lose weight, so it was kind of easy for me to stay motivated. Now, what isn't easy, and I'll be totally honest about it, is doing that incline walk every single day. There were times when I got on that treadmill and 5 minutes felt like 40 minutes. You have to be very mentally disciplined to do a 60-minute incline walk 4 or 5 times a week. It is not fun. It is totally dull and boring. Your legs will ache a little bit, and it's just not a very fun thing to do. But I just thought, this will definitely work, so I'm going to stick with it and I'm going to do it. And some days it went painfully slow and it took forever, and then other days I would put my music on, I'd have a real vibe, I'd watch a podcast or somebody on YouTube. Thank you so much, Lydia Millen, Josie Irons, Rajiv Surendra. Watching you helped me to get through that hour, and the time just went really quickly and I could do it. But I managed to, so I did that every day, 4 or 5 times a week, and by Christmas 2024 I had got to my goal weight of being 9 stone. And I have to tell you, when I lost that weight, I would go shopping, I would put clothes on, and the euphoria you feel when you try clothes on and you realise you've gone down quite a few sizes and that things look very nice on you, the feeling of that is so worthwhile, and all those awful hellish moments on the treadmill suddenly become worthwhile. So yeah, I managed to lose the weight and get down to my goal of being 9 stone. Now I think it's time to talk about diet. So when I started doing this exercise regime, I also implemented quite a strict diet. If you speak to Nathan, he will tell you that I was completely in a flow with this. I never went off track. We went on some pretty amazing trips during this period. We were in Switzerland, we were in Ireland, staying at Ballyfin. We went to St. Moritz, we went to the south of France. We went on some beautiful trips, and on these beautiful trips is a lot of beautiful food. And he will tell you, you can ask him yourself, that every time we went to a restaurant and had a beautiful 3-course meal, I would have the salad, I would have the chicken, I would have the protein, I wouldn't have any of the desserts, and I was very strict with myself. And he used to be like, oh, come on, we're on a trip, you can eat something, you can have something extra. But I just knew that I wanted to get to my goal weight. And before that, I didn't really want to hamper my progress. So as I said before, I'm somebody who is quite disciplined, and I am able to put my mind into that mindset, and nothing can really throw me off. And that is not easy to do. It's not easy. Not everybody is that way. So I'm very glad that I am. So in terms of diet, I'll be very honest, it is not for everybody. I did something that I knew would work because, again, I've lost weight a few times in my life and I know exactly how to do that. It's a boring lifestyle, it's not fun. There's going to be times when you feel totally dejected and bored with the way you're eating, but for me, this is what worked. So I would fast. I would have my very last meal at 6 o'clock in the evening, and then I would fast till lunchtime next day. So it was quite easy. I'd get up in the morning, I'd have a coffee, a black coffee, and then I would go to the gym, do my 1 hour incline walk. I'd have my shower, get dressed, come home, do a few emails, and by the time all of that was done, it was 12 o'clock, noon, and it was time for me to have lunch. So I wasn't feeling starving, it wasn't difficult. I'm not a huge fan of breakfast anyway, so by the time lunchtime rolled around, it was time for me to eat, and I would usually have a soup. It was winter at the time, so I would have a beautiful hearty soup. I'd make a soup, and I wouldn't really be worried about what was in there because the calories were pretty low in my diet anyway, and I'd have a lovely piece of bread with some butter, a bit of salt. That would be my lunch. And then for dinner, I would have a lean protein like chicken breast. If I have chicken breast, I butterfly the chicken breast. I put a squeeze of lemon juice on, some salt, and I put it in a frying pan and I dry cook it, so not with any oil. Sometimes I'd use a 0-calorie avocado oil or something like that. And then with that, I would have sweet potato steamed, one sweet potato steamed, and then I would have broccoli or a homemade salad. And in my salad, I would have a butterhead salad with a tablespoon of olive oil, some lemon juice and some salt, and that is it. So that would be my diet. Sometimes I might have a cookie with a coffee or something like that, but pretty much that was my diet. If I didn't have chicken, I'd have steak, and if I didn't have steak, I'd have salmon. But I pretty much stuck to having the steamed sweet potato, a bit of protein, and a salad or some vegetables. So my diet was totally boring, and it's kind of the diet that I've stuck with for all this time. Now that I have achieved my goal weight and I'm exercising at the gym every day and I know that I'm into this lifestyle, I will. The other day I had a slice of cake when I went out for a coffee. Sometimes I will, at the weekend, have a cheeseburger if I feel like it. If I'm on holiday, I'm not that strict. I have pizzas and stuff, but most of the time my diet is Monday to Friday, lunch, dinner, and it's always the same thing. I have started now in the morning to have a protein smoothie. I really enjoy those, so I'll just put a banana, some raspberries, some blueberries, a scoop of protein powder, some lactose-free milk, whiz it up, and you make a really easy, nice smoothie. So yeah, from start of October 2024 to December 2024, by Christmas I'd lost the weight and I'd got myself into this flow of dieting. So then in January 2025, I decided I've lost the weight, I've done the cardio, now it's time to maybe tone up and start lifting weights. So I knew that I wasn't going to touch a weight until I'd lost the weight that I wanted to lose, because again, it was confusing and you don't really know, I don't think, on the scale what's happening. If you're lifting weights, you're growing muscles, but are you losing fat? So I didn't want to have that confusion. In January 2025, I thought, okay, a new goal, I've lost weight, I'm slim, I look great in my clothes, now I want to tone up. So since January 2025, I've been doing a mixture of Pilates. I do Pilates 2-3 times a week, which I really enjoy. It's great for lengthening the muscles, giving you a bit of better flexibility, making you have better posture, and it's just a fun thing to do. It's a very good mental exercise as well, because you have to really go through these difficult exercises and stick with it for 45 minutes. And then I also started doing 3 days of weightlifting. So I'll spend one day doing upper body, one day doing lower body, and one day doing like a full workout. And I still do, every day I will do an incline walk, but usually it is a 30-minute incline walk. So I'll do an hour of weightlifting, and then I'll do half an hour of my incline walk. A reason why I'm sticking with the incline walk is because next March I'm doing the 3 Peaks Challenge. You may have seen recently that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, completed the 3 Peaks Challenge, where you walk three of the peaks in the UK. I can't remember all of them, but I'm doing that next March with a friend of mine, Lisa, and so I just think that the incline walk is a great way for me to keep my stamina, keep that mental agility of I have to do this walk and finish it, and just keep my weight loss down as well. So I'll do my incline walk, and I do 1 or 2 1-hour incline walks a week as well. I actually did an hour incline walk this morning at the gym, and it was one of those days where it was painful. It was so slow, I couldn't be bothered to do it. Every song I listened to in my phone wasn't really picking me up, but those are the days where you're building mental resilience and keeping yourself accountable and doing things. So yeah, that is kind of the way that I lost weight, exercised, and you know what? The gym is still something that I am on a journey with. It's very, very slow in terms of toning up. I'm just starting to see results now, but it's just trial and error. I'm doing my best, and I have to tell you, I'm not really focused on doing much more. I'm very happy with the way that I look. I feel confident, my clothes fit nicely, I look in the mirror and I feel happy, and I'm just happy within myself. So in terms of weight loss and exercise, I feel like I have achieved what I want to achieve, and this is just something that I'm doing now because I enjoy it and it's my lifestyle. In the morning, I don't really feel happy unless I get up and go to the gym. It's just a routine and something that I really enjoy. So the next thing that I want to talk about are the physical things that I have changed about myself, which have overall affected the way that I look and feel. The first thing that I have done, which is probably the most obvious, is my smile makeover. So when I was 16, I had braces. Stupidly, when I went to the dentist, the dentist said to me, "You need them on the top and the bottom," and I said, "No, I just want them on the top. You don't really see the bottom teeth." How ridiculous. The stupidity of a teenager. And then as I got into my 20s, I realised actually, and especially when you see yourself on camera, you do see your bottom teeth. When you're talking, they show a lot. So my bottom teeth were very, very crooked. My top teeth were not, they weren't crooked, but they were different lengths and shapes. And then because of my crooked teeth at the bottom, my bottom tooth was hitting my front tooth here, and eventually it chipped and I had a chip in my tooth. Also over the years, my teeth started to discolour and they became a bit yellow. And it was when I first started filming on YouTube and you watch yourself back on camera and you say, "Ooh, actually my smile isn't great and it could be improved." And again, I'm not saying that I'm obsessed with the way that I look and it affects my confidence and my well-being. It's just that I like to look my best and I want to improve all the time in every way of life. So my teeth was something that I thought about. I really, really thought about it a lot and thought about whether it was for me. And then a new dentist opened just on the next street where I live, called The Row. And the doctor there is called Dr. Slaney Kerr. She is Irish and she worked in London for a while. She did a lot of smile makeovers for people in media and TV, and so I saw her work on Instagram and I thought, she is a great dentist, somebody I can work with, somebody who is literally 2 minutes walk. That would be great. I can go there whenever I need to, and if there's any issues, she's not far away, perfect. So I went to see Dr. Slaney about what I could do for my smile, and she said that I would need to have Invisalign. So I did Invisalign. It was supposed to be originally for 20 weeks. It ended up being about 18 months, and she did tell me at the beginning it's always longer than we plan. It takes time for the teeth to move and settle, so prepare to have it for longer than you thought. If you don't know what Invisalign is, they are clear trays that you put onto your teeth that slot on like a retainer, and you change them once a week, and gradually the shape of the retainer changes and they move your teeth into the position that you are looking for. So it's not painful, it's really easy. I guess the hardest part is having to wear retainers for nearly 24 hours a day. You only take them out to eat and then you put them back in, and that was quite irritating. They're not the nicest thing to wear. You can feel them. You do get used to them, but you can feel them. And yeah, taking them in and out to eat is quite annoying. But you get over it and you get used to it. Personally, I would prefer to have braces if I did it again. I had braces before, and I just find that having those attached to your teeth, even though they perhaps don't look the nicest, it's just a lot easier. But I had Invisalign. I did that for 18 months. When that was complete, I did about 6 weeks of tooth whitening. That was at home, so Dr. Slaney gave me retainers with the gel, and I put those in every evening for 6 weeks, and I lightened my teeth by a few shades. And then for the very last thing, I had composite bonding. So when I went to Dr. Slaney, she said there's 2 options. You can have veneers, which are permanent. You file down the tooth. We put porcelain veneers on your teeth. The positives of this is that it lasts for a very long time. Perhaps you get a more beautiful result. The negatives are that you have to shave down the tooth and you damage the tooth underneath forever and it's irreversible. Whereas composite bonding, they do not have to touch any of your original tooth. The composite is a very thin layer, kind of as thin as a contact lens, and it molds onto your tooth and you have the shape that you see now. The negatives of this is that it only really lasts for 5 to 10 years. You have to really take care of them. You have to have them polished every 6 months, which I do. They can stain. So yeah, those are the negatives. They don't really last as long as veneers, but I just thought, I don't really want to shave down my teeth and for them to be damaged. So composite bonding was the option that I went with. And I have to tell you, my smile makeover has been one of the biggest boosts to my confidence. I come onto camera and I feel happy, I'm smiling. I never used to smile in photos because I didn't like my teeth or my smile. And now I smile freely, happily, and I feel confident. And what I wanted was a smile that looked quite natural. I didn't want people to notice that I'd got, false teeth in. And so I think Dr. Slaney is great at that. She knows how to make teeth look natural and beautiful. So that was a huge thing that I did. The next big thing that I did was have eyebrow microblading. This was by a guy in Staffordshire near my parents' house called Ashley, and he's known online as the Brow Wizard. So it's quite surprising how these small things make a big difference. I am someone who's never had eyebrows. I have them at the start here, but then they faded out and there was nothing there. A few people, when I've talked about this online before, have said, oh, it could be a thyroid issue or something like that. But since I was 6 years old, I haven't really had eyebrows. You can look at pictures of me when I was young and they just don't exist. And so I was penciling in my brows every day, and then I found this guy, Ashley the Brow Wizard, online, and he does microblading, which is basically a pigmentation. He does very thin strokes, kind of like a tattoo, and it gives you the illusion of having eyebrows. I had that done about a year and a half ago, and at first it really scared me because it looked very unnatural and obvious, but he did tell me, give it 2 weeks, they will shed and then they will look very natural, and that has made a huge improvement to my eyebrows. I do still pencil them a little bit because there's still a little sparsity there, but mostly they are improved, and it just really frames the face. The eyebrows frame the face and give you a structure. So I think that has very much transformed my appearance as well. Other things that I've done a few little cosmetic stuff. I have a very good friend called Dr. Ben Taylor Davis in Edinburgh. He is a doctor. He used to work in A&E, which is called ER in the US. So he's a doctor, and he decided to open an aesthetics clinic here in Edinburgh a few years ago. So I see him every few months. He does Botox for me. Botox is one of the things that I really enjoy. I know some people hate it. It is a personal preference. But for me, I like the look of being smooth, and Botox is really the best way to do that. You can buy these amazing creams that cost hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and you don't really know if they're working. You can go for Botox, it costs about £300, it lasts for about 4 or 5 months, and the results are instant after 2 weeks. And I am 36 years old, I don't have any lines on my forehead, so Botox works. If you want smooth, you want to get rid of lines, that is what Botox does. I used to have quite a deep line in between my eyebrows. That has gone because I've been doing Botox for about 3 years, and so it does make you look younger. I don't think it really makes people look 20 years younger. You can see people in their 60s who have got a completely smooth forehead, but you can still tell that they are in their 60s. You can see people who are 19 who can move their forehead and they've got a few lines, but they still look more youthful than I do. So I guess it's just one of those things, a personal preference. And when I have Botox, everything feels fresh. It's like having a nice blank, smooth canvas, and I just really like the way that it is. I've also had a tiny bit of filler. I've had a tiny bit of chin filler. My chin was quite weak. I've got quite a feminine face, quite a round face. When I lost weight, my face went more angular, and I just had a tiny bit of chin filler, and I've had a little bit of cheekbone filler as well, just to give me some structure. But I can put some before and after pictures on the screen now. You can see that it's not really a huge difference, but that is the kind of results that I want to get. I want something that's very subtle. I don't want people to come up to me and say, oh my God, who did your work? I want people to come up to me and say, you look fresh and rested and well. What have you been doing? And I think that is what I've managed to do. So yeah, a few of those cosmetic enhancements with Dr. Ben. And then I think the last thing with appearance is just finding your personal style and what works for you. And over the last few months, I've changed a few things. I've grown out my hair, and I feel like that has completely changed me. I found a style that I really like. And not only that, it's just something that works. It's so easy. When I had my shorter hair, which I also loved, it was a lot more maintenance. I have to get up in the morning, wash my hair. You have to blow dry it, otherwise it didn't look right because it was short. Now I can go to the gym. I've been to the gym this morning. I had a shower, washed my hair, brushed it back, and that is what you see now. And I put like a little gel in there to make it look wet, and this will last me the whole day, and I don't have to do anything with it. So it's easy, and I think it's just changed my look for the better as well. Clothes, finding things that fit properly. I have a love affair with my tailor. These t-shirts that I'm wearing, these are from COS. So this is a rib t-shirt. I've got these in every colour. So I've got black, brown, grey, white, cream, navy blue. I've got two of each. And because I am quite short, these t-shirts usually come down to about here. So the tailor just crops them for me so they fit properly. And then with things like jeans and stuff like that, I've also figured out what works well for me and what suits my style. So yeah, a bit of style, a bit of styling for yourself, finding out what works, that also helps to bring a transformation. And finally today, I want to talk about mental well-being and mindset. So I think I touched on this at the beginning of the video when I talked about having a very disciplined mindset and having a natural willpower. That is something that I seem to have. When I decide to do something, I am able to put my mind to it and just get on with it without really going backwards and forwards and back and forth. But in terms of mindset, I will say that I feel the most at peace, the most happy that I felt for many, many years. I've had ups and downs just like everybody else, but I'm kind of at a place now where I feel quite strong in terms of, I know for a fact that there are going to be lows. There are going to be very many moments of sadness that happen in my life. There are going to be moments when I feel a bit down, a bit blue. But what I do know also is that when I'm going through those moments, I will be aware that this is just a little period that will pass and I will get through it. And I think to be able to be that way is something that really changes your whole life and your appearance. People have been saying to me lately, you look so happy, you look alive and bright. And I think it's because I'm in that very peaceful period of my life where I feel absolutely content. And it wasn't always this way. There are things that have shaken me over the years, things that have been a worry in my life, and it's had an effect on me. There have been so many times when I've watched back videos of myself here on YouTube and I can see that I wasn't in a very good place, that I was struggling with things and that life wasn't going particularly well. Again, I don't know whether it's because I'm a bit older now, but I seem to be in a place where I'm prepared and ready to deal with these things. Right now, my life is great. I'm happy. I'm pretty settled. Things are going well. And I know that I'm going to enjoy this period because there will be a time when it's not so great. But also when you're going through the not so great parts, you will come through them. I had a really bad start to the year, as you all know. And at the time, I was in a bit of a funk, but always in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, when this is over, something wonderful is going to happen and life will be on the up again. And now I am in that period of something wonderful has happened. I'm happy. I'm really loving my life and I'm having a great time. So yeah, that's what life is. It's up and down. But yeah, having a very strong mental well-being in that way does help on your appearance. I think if you're happy inside, it will beam out of you through your eyes, through your smile, through the way that you move through the world. and everybody will be able to recognise what is going on. And that's not something that you can quickly work on. It takes years and years of practice, of understanding what life is about, and just kind of trusting that life does work out. I've been through many things in life, and I can say that there have been times when I thought, how on earth is this situation going to resolve itself? And it always seems to do so. So I think when you go through that, that's what helps you to become more resilient and notice that life is just up and down. Whether you are a billionaire or a pauper, we're all having the same things. We all go through highs and lows. It's just what life is. And as I talk to you now, I am starting a new challenge. I always like to challenge myself in life. That weight loss journey, that healthy lifestyle was something that I was excited to do, even though, as I mentioned, there were days when I absolutely detested being on the treadmill, walking for an hour, doing an incline. Going through it, I was thinking, oh, but just imagine when you achieve that goal of losing the weight and looking better. So that was what always kept me going. I like to have that mental challenge. I like to really challenge myself. I think it's so good for you as a person to continually have something to aim for. When there's nothing to aim for, when you don't really have a goal or you're not pushing yourself, I think life can become stagnant. So I am doing something new, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to mention this because it's very, very, very early days. But I also think having some accountability is a great thing to keep you motivated. So I have decided for August, September, October, November to go alcohol free. You may have, if you've been watching this channel, known that I've done this before. In 2023, I didn't drink from January to May, and there have been periods when I've decided not to drink. I don't have a problem with alcohol. It's not something that I wake up in the morning thinking about, but I have the kind of lifestyle where I get invited to parties, dinners, events. I travel a lot for work, and that naturally involves alcohol and drinking. And I just thought it would be nice now to have a few months off, not have to think about alcohol, not have to think, oh, I'm not going to drink for a few days, but then go to a dinner for work and there's a glass of champagne and I think, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. So I just thought, if I say to myself 4 months of no alcohol, let everybody know about it, then that's something that I will be able to do. So what's the date today? It is the 6th of August. I am on day 6 of alcohol free, finding it pretty easy, to be honest. And because I've set myself this challenge and I know I'm not able to drink until the 1st of December, it's kind of not something that I'm worrying about. So I'm telling you all to put it out into the world. I am not drinking for 4 months. And actually my sister texted me the other day and she said, oh, Mum's told me that you are not drinking for a few months. Why have you decided to do it in the middle of the summertime? And because I'm going to the Caribbean on the 16th of this month, the 19th of this month, she's like, you're going on holiday and you're not going to drink. And I just said, you know, as I just said to you, tomorrow never comes. You have to do it sometime. Maybe summer is a bit of a ridiculous time, but I just wanted to do it now, and that is what I'm going to do. So that is what I am going to do. And if December the 1st rolls around and I decide that I still don't want to have a drink, then I won't. So I'm not going to say I'm not drinking ever again. I enjoy alcohol. It's fun. I can drink without getting blind drunk and without being ridiculous. I just enjoy the taste. I enjoy the ritual. But if I don't want to drink in December, then I won't drink in December. But if I do, I will celebrate with a glass of champagne and have a really great festive season with my friends and family and loved ones. And that will be great. So yeah, that is pretty much what I wanted to talk to you about today. I just thought, because there were comments, emails, lots of, especially on places like TikTok and Instagram, there have been many people who have commented or emailed me and they said, wow, I haven't watched you for a few years and you popped up and I didn't even recognise you. And I think it is quite funny when, if you are watching me every week, perhaps the changes are very, very subtle. But if you look back to 3 years ago, it's quite a big difference. So I just thought, you know, this is something that's popping up again and again. Why don't I make a whole video about it and then I can explain, maybe give some encouragement, some inspiration to people who are wanting to change their life. And if not, it's a bit of a fun thing to talk about. We all like to talk about transformations and changing ourselves. I love hearing about those things, so I know you pretty well as well, and I think it's something that we all enjoy. So yeah, that is my video for today. There is another one coming on Sunday, something I'm very, 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 very excited about. It's going to be sharing something fun and something new with you all. So do check that out. It will be Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you once again for joining me. Do let me know in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions or thoughts. I'm always happy to hear your thoughts, and I love reading the comments. It's one of my very favourite things about doing this job, is putting a video out there and seeing what people think about what I make. So yeah, whether it's negative, positive, whatever you want, tell me. I'm used to it, and I'll be very happy to read them. All right, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. I will see you on Sunday. But until then, take care. Bye-bye.